Hello everyone! In this episode, we're going to create the basis for our Age of Empires 4 map using the Terrain Layout tool. With the content editor opened up, we want to select Create a new mod. There are various mod types that we can create, but for now we'll select Crafted Map, as we just want to build our own little scenario. We'll input a crafted map name. I'll call it m_tutorial_map1, which is just a file name which we will be seeing ourselves. And we'll input the display name, which is what other players will see if we choose to publish the map. Let's call this My First Map. As we want to start off creatively but not get overwhelmed completely, we'll select the intermediate option of creating a new crafted map starting with the Terrain Layout tool. As we press Next, the Terrain Layout tool opens up. Looking very much like Microsoft Paint, here we can paint a simplified layout that will be used as a base to generate the map from. Don't worry, we'll go through the full details of crafting a map from scratch at a later point, but right now this will be a handy and faster starting point to get going with. We can choose from a bunch of differently colored squares in the top bar by left-clicking them, and then paint that color on our grid with the pencil by left-clicking anywhere in the grid. You can click and hold to paint larger sections with ease. Those colored squares all represent a different terrain type, like different types of grassland, forest, mountains, and different bodies of water. Let's select the Fill tool from the Tools section and select Green Plains to easily fill all the same colored squares with the selected color by left-clicking on our grid. When everything is nice and green, I'll switch back to the Pencil tool and start painting in a lake in the middle of the map. Feel free to go for any type of layout you'd like to do yourself though. It's always good to save your progress, so let's hit the Export button from the Edit section, name our file, and press Save. When we make changes to our map that we don't like, we can always revert to a previously saved version by pressing Import from the Edit section and selecting the file we previously saved. Let's fill out our grid a little more by adding some other tiles into the mix, like forest, hills, and maybe some stealth areas. Now we'll switch over to the Player's Component window and click on the grid to set the starting location for Player 1. A player's starting location will always be confined to one of the squares. We can select Player 2 from the drop-down and place them on the grid as well. If you're unhappy with your placement, you can hit Ctrl-Z to undo. Alternatively, you can click the Undo button or use the eraser to remove a player spawn. We should now have the basics of our layout set up to generate a playable map from. Let's make sure to save our changes by hitting Export or pressing Ctrl-S, and then clicking the Next button in the bottom right of the screen to render our map. Before we finalize this, we'll have to input a mod name, which only you will see, the mod display name, which other players will see, enter a brief description, and set a location where you want your map to be saved. If the content is specific to any language region, you can change the locale from the drop-down window. When we're all done, we press Finish, which will open the full content editor and start the rendering process for our map. When the rendering process is done, I'll drag some of the window panes to make the render window a bit larger. And we can see that the editor has taken our little grid and constructed a whole map out of it. In the next episode, let's take a look at how we can dive in to test our layout and make some quick changes and improvements. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next episode.